What's up, you guys? Wanted to talk with you today about how you can get started in real estate with little or even no money down. I know there's a lot of misconceptions out there, and it really shies people away from getting started in real estate, assuming that they need a boatload of money to put 20 or 25% down on an investment property. And that's not always the case. It's certainly not when you're first trying to get in real estate. There's a lot of different strategies that you can do today to get your feet wet, and also to maybe partner up with other people. We'll talk about several of those strategies. If you guys enjoy this video and other content I put out, please do like the video here and subscribe below. I typically post again about once a week. I'm looking to do that more, and if the more subscribers I get, the more I'll be able to produce for you guys, and hopefully you enjoy the content. And as I've been doing in recent videos, I will drop links to books and other things below that I use on a weekly basis that can help you guys along your journey to get financially educated, and can help you, strategize the road for financial freedom, and to just learn about various strategies in real estate and other investments and things like that. There will be 2 additional links down there. One is for the Amazon Kindle, which is an ebook, which I never thought I would like, and then I got it, and now I love it, and I've been reading a ton more because of that. And then again, personally, when I'm on the road with my day job, I typically listen to Audible because I have my hands on the wheel, obviously. So it helps me consume lots of great content, whether it's books, podcasts, whatever it may be. There's a link down below to a free trial if you want to test out a book. Again, audiobooks are great, especially for those that consume and retain information better by listening and visualizing instead of reading, an actual physical book. All right, so let's talk about why maybe you or other people, and certainly why I did at first before getting involved in real estate, why most people shy away from investing their hard-earned money into real estate. Number one is they think it's simply too risky, and maybe they don't know enough about real estate, and that's okay. But once we get past that and start to educate ourselves, there's going to be some level of risk with any investment. But the more you get educated, I think the more that you're going to come to realize that with any investment, you're going to have adjusted risk. But I personally see real estate as a less risky investment than investing in the stock market, or definitely than investing in a traditional 401k or IRA and trusting someone else to manage my money. Number 2, and this is primarily the one we'll be talking about today, is people think that they don't have or don't earn enough money to save up to invest in real estate. So we're going to bust that myth today by talking about ways that you can actually get started in real estate investing with little or even no money down. 3, a lot of people lack long-term vision, and it's as simple as it sounds. I mean, most people trade the idea of long-term wealth with short-term satisfaction. So instead of chipping away at our investments or saving over time, we ultimately use that money and make impulse decisions, buy things we probably don't need, and things like that. And in either direction, investing is a compounded snowball effect, and same with consumer debt. As we purchase things we can't afford, that can spin out of control as well. The best way to build long-term wealth in real estate is to buy and hold. The buy and hold strategy has held true for many, many decades. Traditionally, it would be to buy a house or a duplex, triplex, apartment building, multifamily, whatever, or even commercial real estate, and then hold on to it long-term or forever in perpetuity, and rent it out to folks that will ultimately be paying us monthly cash flow, paying down the loan, and also we will reap the benefits of appreciation. And also there is tax benefits and tax sheltering as well, as the asset depreciates over time, which we can go into further in a different video, but those are really the 4 main benefits. Cash flow, loan pay down as you're building equity in the house over time. Again, your renter's paying down the loan for you. Appreciation, and again, tax benefits and tax sheltering. Again, back to a point we made about a minute ago, is that most people think we need 20 to 25% of a down payment in order to get invested in real estate. And we want to, invest in a big home or big apartment complex right out the gate. And that could be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Where am I going to find that 20% down payment? So we're going to just bust that myth immediately. So if you do not currently own or have never made a purchase for a house or a down payment on a house and received a loan, you will actually more than likely qualify for what they call a first-time home buyer's purchase or mortgage loan, and you can put as little as 3 or 5% down in most cases. So again, you may not need 20 or 30% down on a house, and mortgage rates right now are at all-time lows, and they're likely to continue to go down over the next 6 to 10 months. due to coronavirus and how the economy's been. But you are more than likely able to put, again, 2, 3, maybe 5% down on a house. And I think over the course of 6 to 12 months, most people can probably bring some money together to potentially do that for maybe a cheaper house that you want to do as a rental property. Another strategy that I wish that my wife and I did originally is called house hacking. So when you buy your first house, or any house really, you can buy a house, and there's two strategies that you can do. One is, let's say it's a duplex or a triplex, and you move in, right? You have a primary residence loan, and then you rent out the other units out to a long-term renter. So they'll be paying you monthly rent each month. That will ultimately be covering the cost of your own place and potentially be paying you cash flow on top of that. So you'll be living for free. That's what they call it, house hacking. The other strategy is to, if you're in a market where there's a lot of visitors, or high tourist area, whether it's a city or mountain, lake, beach, whatever, and there's going to be a lot of foot traffic in the city, then you could actually rent out rooms within your house, or if you have, again, a duplex, you can rent the other half of the house out on Airbnb, HomeAway, VRBO, any of those vacation rental sites. And ultimately, again, house hacking, you can make enough money to where you're living for free. And again, it doesn't even have to pay you cash flow, in this particular investment. So if you house hack, whatever you were normally going to be paying down the loan yourself, now you can save up that money, and it accumulates, and you can make an investment into another rental property. And again, you're still living for free. Now, this next strategy, I've had several friends back in Austin and here in Nashville that have done this strategy, and it's to essentially find or network with somebody, whether it's a friend, someone you meet on LinkedIn, Facebook groups, biggerpockets.com, it doesn't matter, or a family member that have similar interests, but maybe you guys don't have enough money or the skill set yet to invest on your own. So you can actually come together and buy a rental property, split the costs, and also split the cash flow and the benefits of that asset long term. I had a buddy in Austin who did this actually with a friend of his. Is they moved in together and rented out the other half of a duplex under a lease agreement to a long-term renter, and they were living for free. And now they're saving up to make another investment and continue to let their real estate journey, compound over time that way. Now, this next one's really cool because you can do either house flipping, which is essentially getting a house that needs a lot of cosmetic work, but ultimately the bones are still good, the foundation's still good, and doesn't need a tremendous amount of work, but maybe needs, $30,000 an uplift or a makeover. And maybe you don't have that money, but you could find somebody who does, who is too busy during their day job or with other things, and they just want to be an investor. I have a good friend here in Nashville, and he's doing the same thing right now, to where, hey, he didn't want to put any money out of his own pocket into an investment, but he knows real estate very, very well. He's in that industry. He's also a real estate agent on the side, and he met somebody that has the money but wanted to be hands off. So what they're doing is the investor is giving the money to my friend, and they're going in together to flip this house. So my buddy, he has no money in the game, but he has a lot of sweat equity, right? He's the one contracting out painters, plumbers, and whoever's laying new roof, make maintenance changes, and they're in there themselves doing a lot of these changes as well. So you have one person who is the investor with the money, the other person has all the, putting in all the work or sweat equity, and ultimately they're going to split the sale of the house. So they're doing a flip. But you can do this for any rental investment, right? So you have an investor A who's putting the money down, and investor B who is going to be, managing the property and taking the operational aspect off the table for the other investor. So they go in together, and again, they're going to split the benefits long term, or maybe they get all the benefits as the investor, with appreciation and loan pay down since they own the asset, but you're splitting the cash flow. So again, this is an infinite return on your money. When you think from a cash flow return on investment perspective, yes, you're putting in some of the legwork and maybe, doing the operational duties day to day, but you're receiving, an infinite return on your investment because you put $0 down, and whether you're making $10 a month or $500 a month, still infinite return is the best possible return you can get. Again, something I wanted to mention, which you are welcome to do. I haven't done this myself, but if it's your first time buying a house, you can actually borrow against your 401k. Traditionally, you're able to do this. Again, I would check with your employer, whoever they're using, or managing your 401k, whether it's Charles Schwab or Vanguard, whoever it may be. It's likely in fine print somewhere, but you can call in and speak with a representative, and they could let you know if you're actually able to withdraw up to a certain amount of money towards a first home purchase. And ultimately you'll have to pay back, but it's penalty free to withdraw that money for a home purchase. So that is an option for you to get in. Again, if you want to do the house hacking strategy and you need to buy a primary residence, you can borrow against your 401k and use the cash flow to pay that back. And then thereafter that cash flow is all yours going forward. Now this next one, you won't receive all the benefits that we talked about at the beginning with appreciation, loan pay down, and tax sheltering, things like that. But it's an amazing way to have tremendous cash flow with little to no money down. And this is what you'll hear is short-term rental arbitrage. And a lot of people are actually doing this across the United States, and I'm sure across the world, to where you find a place to rent. You are a long-term renter, and basically you approach the homeowner, apartment, condo owner, whoever it may be, and you say, hey, look, can we get it written up in the lease agreement that you will allow me to rent your place, pay you, the monthly cost that you're asking for whatever it may be, a 12 to 24 month term, but in return, I'm going to actually rent it out short term to, as a vacation rental on the weekends, throughout the week, whatever. And okay, you might be thinking, who would do this in their right mind? And here's a couple ways to combat that. So when you're approaching someone, ordinarily someone who is living, a full-time renter, they're really living in a space, and there's going to be more wear and tear. They're probably not going to take care of it as their own. And after their 12 or 24 month lease is up, there's typically a lot of maintenance and repair and paint and other work that the owner needs to take care of. So what you can say is, hey, I'll split some of the costs with you. And actually, when we have short-term renters come in, I'm paying for a cleaning service to come in and fully clean the place. So it's going to be professionally cleaned weekly, or sometimes more than once a week, whenever we're turning over the house for new renters that are coming in for the next weekend. So that's a huge benefit, and actually there's typically less wear and tear on a short-term rental than there is on a long-term rental. And what you can do actually to help convince them is you could say, hey, as long as you have your numbers right, you could say, hey, I'll pay you $200 more a month than what you're asking for to allow me to do this and allow me to rent short-term on my own terms. And there's a lot of people who do this, and again, you reap whatever you make above how much you're paying in rent each month to them. You're reaping all that cash flow, right? And there's less risk involved, because if the market tanks, then you're not losing your house, right? You're going into foreclosure. I mean, if you break your lease, there's typically, a 1 or 2 month cost to break your lease or something like that. And what I would do if I were to do short-term rental arbitrage is I would take all that cash flow and save it so I can invest in a new property where I can actually put a down payment on, and so I can reap all the benefits of real estate long-term and start receiving cash flow there. But rental arbitrage is a great way to get in the game if you are looking, if you're in a short-term renter hot market, such as a larger city, again, or a vacation hotspot. Lastly, I just encourage you guys, continue to get educated, all right, on real estate, on finance, on personal finance, and set a target date, right? You can read as many books as you want. You can watch as many YouTube videos as you want. And I spun the wheels on this for several years until I finally said, all right, I can only read so much more. I feel like everything else I'm going to learn is through the actual investment and through experience. So I encourage you guys to maybe network, find someone who can help mentor you, or just, if you feel ready, just dive in head first, and you will learn so much along the way that you would not ordinarily just be able to read by picking up a book or watching a video online. So set a target date. Maybe it's 6, 12, 24 months down the road, and how much money you need to put down on your particular investment, and how much do I need to save monthly in order to meet that goal by then? And is my current job supplying enough income for me to save enough money on a monthly basis to reach that goal by that timeline? And if it is, great, stick to a plan, stick with it as best you can, and when you get to the finish line, be ready to execute and invest. Another thing you can do is side hustle. I did this for several years, right out of college, I worked on the weekend at a winery, pouring wine every weekend, showing people around the vineyard. And honestly, it was great money. I earned a lot of money in tips, learned a lot from the chef there, learned how to make pizza. So it was kind of a fun experience. But again, find a side hustle. If you don't know what to do, it's very easy to, you drive for Uber, you could do Uber Eats, Grubhub, Postmates, whatever. There's plenty of ways to side hustle in your free time where you're watching TV or binge watching Netflix that you could be out, hustling and earning a few extra $100 a week that can ultimately turn to thousands of dollars saved in a year or two and help you make that first investment in real estate, and the rest will be history. If your ultimate goal is to be financially free and who knows, maybe retire early, or if you don't enjoy your current job as much and you want to do something else that you would do for the pure intrinsic satisfaction and not necessarily the monetary benefit, but you're willing to sacrifice a few years of working a more stressful job, whether it be in sales or project management or something, to where you can build a skill set and honestly make a lot of money being, again, in somewhere like sales where you have a variable compensation based on how well you perform. I would encourage you guys to go for it. I mean, you don't have nothing to lose to apply for a couple new jobs and maybe change fields so you can, boost your income today and ultimately use that money over the next several years to invest. And, again, you can reach financial freedom a lot quicker than you may think. Lastly, guys, I really encourage you, check out some of the books below, give them a read. They really help change the way I think and how my wife and I have set our long-term goals, and that has changed a lot of our actions on a short-term basis. Again, daily actions, weekly, monthly, what we're doing with our money. Get financially educated and learn more about real estate if that's what you're ultimately interested in. Set a target date that you want to take the jump, and what do I need to do on a weekly or a monthly basis from a cash savings perspective so I can invest come that target date. If you haven't watched a video I did a few weeks ago around creating a personal budget, I highly encourage you to do it. Reach out to me if you want the template in Excel or Google Sheets. I'm more than happy to share it with folks for the time being. Drop a comment below, send me a private comment on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever. Shoot me a message, and I'm more than happy to email it to you guys. And lastly, find a mentor. If you feel a little bit lost, you can network with folks on LinkedIn, on YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Join groups. You can join biggerpockets.com, which is probably the number one spot for folks to network with each other. And there's lots of blogs and webinars there too, where you can learn a ton of great information. If you're a new investor and you're just looking to get your feet wet, learn from others. If you can learn from others and learn from their mistakes to avoid silly mistakes on your own, it'll expedite your process to achieving financial freedom. That's all today, guys. Please like and subscribe below. I really appreciate your support, and I'll look forward to chatting with you guys here in the next few days.